Hello everybody, this is Alex from Hardcorian Guide. It's bringing my guide for God of War Ghost of Sparta on God difficulty. Today we're doing part 8 entitled Port of Atlantis. So, the reason why that will be the main focus is because we have to do the ship section. And we have to go through, King Midas first and all that, but I didn't realize that I was so deep into another level that I just named it off of something that would make more sense. So there you go. My naming schemes are not great, but it works. We're still back here in the volcano area. We haven't dealt with King Midas just yet, but we will eventually pretty soon, like halfway I think through the video or whatever. And then after that is what I like to consider the infamous ship section. So there's that. But yeah, we're getting close to being done with the game. Let me move my mic back. It's way too up my face here. It's bothering me. So, yeah, we're getting closer. And I think we only have like a couple more actual true big levels to go through. Because we still got to go through Atlantis, actually. I forgot about that shit. And then we go to the death area, and that's not too long. But yeah, for right now, in the beginning part of the volcano is nothing too crazy. It's just a couple of shield guys, a couple of guys you just shoot with your arms of Sparta. So, again, nothing that really needs to be talked about too much. I would say for the most part that's probably the entire video in general. There's just not really a lot to really discuss. I don't think there's any particular sections besides maybe the vortex that might be a pain. Also, if I remember correctly, I think on the PS3 version of this game, the HD collection version, which is what I'm playing on, if you hold that chest, because like you can't open it no matter what you try. If you hold it for a certain amount of time, like maybe like a minute or something, I forget what it was, you get a trophy for it. Also, you would think that touching King Midas' gold touches would turn you into gold too, but thankfully it does not. Thankfully it's only just him that does that because he's cursed. So, yeah. And every time I think about King Midas, I always think about Tomb Raider 1, where there's that Midas puzzle. You have to... Well... It's one of those puzzles that used to piss me off as a kid because I never really understood the Midas thing for like a while. Or not really pissed me off as a kid, but more so like, it feels like it's one of those puzzles that's just so weird that you kind of have to have like outside knowledge to kind of understand what the puzzle is. And it's not like a puzzle I feel like you can kind of figure it out on your own. I mean, you can, but I feel like it's a lot harder or a lot easier if you knew about King Midas. Basically, there's like this, gold statue hand thing, and you gotta go find these silver blocks, and you gotta put it on the gold hand, and then turn it into gold, and, I guess you could say, like, you probably could eventually figure it out. Like, if you jump on top of the hand, you turn into gold yourself. So, you could theorize that could be right there, the big reference to, well, not just King Midas, but, that could probably be the answer that you're probably looking for. It's like, oh, okay, well, there you go. But, if you might know of things beforehand, you might have, been able to figure out. Sorry, I know, it's just, it's almost 12. The last time I recorded was like at 5 o'clock. And not to say that I didn't do anything today, because, man, I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been struggling. In other reasons, not, well, the reason I'm talking about right now is I start up Transformers Devastation again, like actually recording footage for it, doing Wheeljack's campaign, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my controller, I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's the tech I have, I don't know if it's my weapons, I don't know if it's Wheeljack, but something is just not fucking clicking anymore. I finished I think 5 chapters now, and I got like, I think I'm on chapter 6, I want to say, either 5 or 6, and I don't know what it is. It's just chapter 5 and all that was just a pain in the ass to get through, and like my dodging is just not as good as it used to be. I'm just suffering, man. I don't know what's going on. So I took it as a sign that maybe we should work on that one later and finish God of War first, shouldn't we? But I do want to try to keep up with it because I don't want to lose my abilities to play game, So, real quick, King Midas. It's mostly just a bring the body over, quick time event. He'll try to move back. This part's not too difficult. You just kind of have to, well, deal with him when he's doing his quick time thing. But Mainly, for the most part, just know, I guess, where the dogs are probably going to appear at. Because I think there's, like, maybe only, like, a couple of waves worth. Like, maybe 2, 3. 2 or 3 waves of these guys. It's just regular dogs. I would suggest, instead of grabbing them and throwing them, I would suggest just actually doing regular attacks on them. So that way, especially with Thayer's Bane, that way we could just kind of, you know, get rid of them before he goes back completely. I don't think they respawn at all. I think, like, once they're gone, they're gone. I'm not sure. Yeah, sorry. Goddamn. Well, I'm not really doing anything, like, super exciting. I'm just doing, well, commentary. Which, you know, there are times where, like, you know, I've admitted before, of course. There's a lot of times where it's fun. But there's just times where, you know, things like this just happen. Like, nothing's really going on. I've seen all this shit before. Like, I'd rather be playing the game. Also, I remember when I was younger, I was like, damn, that's like the most... That's pretty fucking brutal. Just throwing him straight into lava, and he's just stuck burning in there and just turning it all into gold. It's a pretty brutal way to go out, not gonna lie. I mean, it's pretty cool. But, yeah, it's pretty rough. I hate when these fucking boxes do this shit. So irritating. What was that? Eye of Atlantis? I don't know why I even bothered trying to upgrade that. Like, technically... Okay, Scourge of Aranis, that's what it's called. I would suggest, knowing the things I know now, just upgrade the Arms of Sparta and don't worry about upgrading the magic, for the most part. Mainly because of the wraiths and their bullshit and being able to use the jumping in air R1 square to basically stop them from going underground. Again, when we get to that part, that section that I struggled with, I'll talk about that and I'll give credit again. Which might get repetitive and annoying to people that are watching this series, you know, from part 1 all the way to this in a row, but you gotta understand that this is a guide. So some people tend to probably skip it, you know, skip to the parts that they need, and I'm trying not to accidentally not give credit where credit's due, you know what I mean? So I would like to be able to hold on. You know, just have everything just kind of in the right place at the right time, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. God, I must be super fucking, like, too tired for this shit, apparently. I mean, again, nothing's really... nothing inherently super difficult's going on. And the most I can really talk about is just Transformers Devastation being a pain in my ass, but that's more so left for just Transformers. This part right here is just, once again, just a bunch of nothingness. I mean, it's just enemies that can just be chain grabbed, and there's nothing I can really talk about much besides, yeah, you can just do that. So, I mean... It is what it is. I'm gonna get, like, so many fucking dislikes from this video, I swear. It's so weird, because I forget what it was, but there was a guide I did a long time ago. There's a video in it where I think I did some exercise before I did the video, and my breathing was kind of, you know, trying to think of the word here, but I was basically not struggling to breathe, but it was just like, you know, I just got done exercising, so you can kind of tell I was panting a lot. And that video got a dislike, and I just immediately... Because, like, nobody ever tells me why they hate my content. Some people do, of course, but it's just very rare when people even tell me. Instead of just knowing what it is, I just start assuming, like, oh, it's probably because of that. You know, and in all fairness, I could just be right. I don't know. Also, did that guy on the right take 4 hits and not just 3? Why do fucking games do that shit? If it actually did that, why would you do that? What's the point of giving him like an extra hit point for just no fucking discernible reason at all? If I had to guess, it's probably because, like, oh, well, you know, you forgot to hit him a third time and kill him, so he just kind of had like an extra little bit of health that came back out of nowhere. Maybe, I don't know. Also, again, by this time, I do know, of course, about the pairing for Harpies, which is nice. Fuck me, god damn. Sorry. Yeah, this could be a brutal video. I could just... No, I'm not cutting it. I'm not redoing the commentary for this one. Fuck it. Unless something really bad happens, like my PC shuts off or something, I'm just not gonna bother. I'm sorry about the commentary being so low and all that, but, you know, it is 12 o'clock at night, and I waste... Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I waste my fucking time. That's what I do every goddamn week, it seems. Unless I, do something that seems productive, but I feel like there's a lot of time where I waste my time. I mean, I hung out with the family today for quite a while, you know what I mean? Like, until 3 o'clock, so... I wouldn't say that's really a waste of time in that department, but... You can't really get my brain to work very good anyway, so, yeah. Cyclopses, real quick, just to describe... They're fucking Cyclopses. I mean, at this point, you've played God of War, I assume. If not even just all of God of War, if you're just playing on God difficulty at this point, you should be able to handle Cyclopses just fine enough. I know, earlier parts, I was like, oh, that sounds rude when I say that, but, I mean, come on. Like, why are you playing God difficulty if you just... Like, there's some parts I understand that are way more difficult than others, but I feel like this is one of those where it's like... Okay, now I sound like an asshole. God damn it. I don't mean to sound like an asshole, but I'm just saying, like, I would... Cyclopses, for me, are just, like, piss easy, but then again, I have to remember, like, well, not everybody's like you, Alex, not everyone is just gonna be like you are and fucking so good at fighting Cyclopses. There's people out there that do tend to kind of probably suffer against them, I'm sure, and they probably do great against Wraiths, for all I know. I don't know. I mean, that's possible. I just feel like when it comes to it, there's certain parts of the game that I honestly believe that enemies are just way more easier. Like, the arenas could be way harder than they are, so... And to be fair, like, this is all relatively subjective shit anyway. I mean, what I think is hard is what I think is hard, not what's determined or objectively hard. However, I will say that I guess you could argue that this game is objectively hard because since it has a difficulty mode, you would think that, like, oh, well, because it's more difficult, therefore it's objectively harder. Yeah, but, it's not really as difficult to beat in my case, I guess. Well, it had parts. It had parts that had me frustrated. But those were because I was too, I guess you could say, naive, for lack of a better word. I didn't understand the full deepness of God of War Ghosts of Sparta. That only goes so far. Because that's the thing with God of War, is like it only goes to a certain degree before it gets not super deep anymore. God of War 3 had it, God of War 3 had quite deep mechanics. Also, this is, I think, the first time we get to see the Atlanteans that have these slam moves. So here's something I can talk about. This part, I think, is hard as fuck. To an extent, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But chain grab the living hell out of these Atlanteans, and that slam move, I think, can be parried. However, it cannot be blocked. I've tried blocking it, but I think you can only just parry it. If you need health, of course, you can kill the guys with you. I mean, it's God of War. You can do whatever you want. There's no good or evil system. Who gives a shit? Kratos is, for all intents and purposes, an anti-hero anyway, so it's not like it really matters. Like, if it's classic Greek, classic Greek bullshit where, hey, if you're in the way, you're gonna die, So, don't be in the way, innocent or not, it doesn't really matter. It's just nature taking its course at that point. Survival of the fittest, yeah. That's basically it. That's the entirety of God of War right there in a nutshell. But anyway, to explain how hard this part is, well, it used to be a lot harder for me back then. But nowadays, or at least in this video, not nearly as bad. I think it's because, like, back then I used to try to fight the enemies, but if you just chain grab, yeah, you can parry that, there you go. But if you just chain grab, then for the most part, you can just get away with at least deleting, like, most of these guys with relative ease. It's just these fucking cursed stairs, man. These goddamn stairs get in the way. Because sometimes you try to grab somebody, like, on the stairs, and it might kind of fudge you up a little bit. So be careful with that, too. Just fair warning. And then it does get harder when all of a sudden, I guess, Poseidon's pissed off or something. Even though I think... Well, this game, I think, chronologically takes place between 2 and 3, right? Or is this between 1 and 2? Oh, shit, if I remember. I think in terms of timeline-wise, I think it takes place before 3. At some point. Either way. Yeah, I don't know, but somebody's pissed. Whether it be Trident, Poseidon, I would wager a guess and say it's most likely Poseidon, or just the giant silly boss enemy. I don't know who the fuck's casting lightning. It could be Zeus for all I know in this universe. I don't know what's going on. But either way, this is why chain grabs are, in my opinion, very important, especially for this part right here, because you've got all that lightning strikes going on to the point where it gets humorous. You know, it gets so ridiculous how much they try to hit you with lightning later. Like, you know when you're getting close to being done with this part, because the lightning storm just gets even worse. To the point where even when I try to chain grab, I'm kind of unfortunately stuck not being able to do it effectively like I did before, because now I'm getting, you know, destroyed by lightning. Luckily, the lightning itself does not do a lot of damage, but it is just annoying enough to, like, notice, like, yeah, it's there, it's annoying. That's what makes this part very hard. But like I said, this right here, this just made it 10 times easier. And I wish I would have known about that, or tried doing that back in the day when I played this game for the first-ish time on God difficulty and just doing marathon stuff or whatever. I wish I would have known more about this game, but now I kind of do. And there you go. The giant lightning storm itself does not last very long. I don't think you need to mash too much here. I think you're fine. I was just doing it for the sake of it, just in case the game says, oh, no, you fucking died because you're a loser. But either way, yeah, there you go. I guess the silly thing is dead. But, yeah, so I think next time we'll just call it Sunken Atlantis. I think that'll probably be the next part. I'll call it that. I'll make sure I write that down real quick before I forget, because I will forget. But anyway, that'll be it for this. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time for some more God of War, Ghost of Sparta. And, of course, as always, take care, everybody.